Hey everyone, stay tuned after the show for a quick chat with Jake. In the special edition of Quizzy Fun Trivia, it's called a head-to-head. Welcome to Quizzy Fun Trivia, episode 22. I'm super excited about this episode because this is the first time we're doing a head-to-head with a live person in studio, and that is Jake Ballentine. Jake, say hello.
Hello, I'm excited to be here.
So Jake, tell us really quick what you do. Who are you?
My name is Jake Ballentine. I've been a full-time motivational speaker and life coach for more than a decade. And more than anything, I just like living a wonderful, fun, and inspired life.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. Jake is awesome. He puts out a lot of awesome content, and we'll get to that. After we play Quizzy, we'll have a segment called Quizzy Chats, a quick interview with Jake, and we get to learn a little bit more about him. But here's how it works. You, the audience, is essentially playing against Jake. We still play 3 rounds of 5 questions. Every round gets a new category. If you get all of the questions correct, that's still a Quizzy. Can you beat a motivational speaker today?
We'll see.
Moving on to round 1.
Round 1.
All right, the category for round 1 is classic rock. Question number 1. Mick Jagger is the lead singer of which band?
The Rolling Stones.
Boom. Correct. Question number 2. Which band released the album Dark Side of the Moon in 1973?
That would be Pink Floyd.
Correct. The answer there, Pink Floyd. Question number 3. Finish the lyric. There's a lady who's sure. Let me sing it. There's a lady who's sure.
All that glitters is gold? No, that's not
Correct.
It is? Okay, good.
All
good,
that
good,
glitters is gold. Very good. Question number 4 of classic rock. Which band released the songs Simple Man, Free Bird, and Sweet Home Alabama?
Lynyrd Skynyrd.
That is correct. Lynyrd Skynyrd. And question number 5, the last one of this round. What is the name of the song by Creedence Clearwater Revival that begins, "Someone told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm"?
Have you seen The Rain?
Someone told me long ago.
There's a calm before the storm. I know it's been cooling for some time.
Jake,
I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? Yeah, that's it.
yeah, hey, you got that correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Have you ever seen the rain?
That's it.
Moving on to round 2.
Round 2.
The category for round 2 is Disney.
Let's do it.
Let's see what we got here. Question number 1. What was Disney's first feature-length animated film?
That would be Snow White.
Correct. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Very good. Question number 2. In what year did Disneyland open in Anaheim?
$1955.
That is correct. 1955. Question number 3 of Disney. In which Disney park can you visit the World Showcase?
That would be Epcot.
That is correct. Epcot at Disney World, Florida. Very good. Wow, you know your Disney, Jake. Maybe I'll get him with this one. Question number 4. What kind of animal is Bambi's friend, Flower?
A skunk.
That is correct. A skunk. Question number 5, the last one of Disney. Which Disney park was the first to open outside of the United States?
Tokyo Disney.
Are you freaking kidding me right now? That is correct. Tokyo Disney. Tokyo Disney Resort, 1983. Very good.
Yes.
Moving on to round 3.
Round 3.
Jake is on a roll here. 5 more questions, Jake, and you get a Quizzy. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something.
If on our first head-to-head, you get a Quizzy. You would really set a very high standard.
Well, there you go. I like the categories.
Here we go. The category for round 3 is pro wrestling.
Yes.
Question number 1. Who won the first Royal Rumble match in 1988?
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
That is correct. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Question number 2. Which wrestler is known as the Phenom?
Oh, are you talking about The Undertaker? The
Yes.
Phenom?
Correct.
Okay, there you go.
Question number 3. Which wrestler's real name is Terry Bollea?
Hulk Hogan.
Boom. Question number 4. Which tag team is known for their catchphrases, "You didn't know? Your butt better call somebody. And if you're not down with that, suck it."
We got 2 words for you. This is going to be the New Age Outlaws.
Correct. The New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn.
That's right.
All right, question number 5, the last one of this round and the last one of this Quizzy. Now, Jake, you have gotten 14 questions correct. Will you get a Quizzy? Are
Let's
you going
do
to call
it.
your shot?
I'm going to call my shot. I'm getting a Quizzy. The very first one.
Question number 5. What are the names of The Rock's famous signature finishing moves?
The 2 moves I believe you are referring to are the People's Elbow and the Rock Bottom.
Oh my gosh, you got it, Quizzy!
Well, I am so proud of myself. 15 out of 15.
Correct. The Rock Bottom and the People's Elbow.
That is right.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for playing, everyone. I hope you had fun. Please join us every week for new episodes. You can follow us on social media at Quizzy Fun Trivia. But please stay tuned. We're going to have a quick chat with Jake. And we're moving right into it. Here's Quizzy Chats. Jake, that was really fun, and I cannot believe that you got a Quizzy the first time playing. That is amazing.
Well, thank you.
For those of you who don't know, Jake did not have the questions. He did not get the questions ahead of time.
Nope.
However, when you come on and do a head-to-head with me here in the studio, you get to choose. Either I'll give you a list of 20 categories, and you get to choose what you feel your strongest is in the categories. Or you can say, here are 3 categories I feel pretty strong at. Can we do questions for it? And so that's how it is. So I guess they do have a little bit of advantage coming into this because they do know the categories, just not the questions. I found this so fun because I know nothing about pro wrestling. And so I went down
Did you
this...
just choose random questions on there?
So I went down this deep, dark rabbit hole of pro wrestling and to try to figure... Like when I tried to figure out, I was just trying to Google and figure out random questions to ask, and I found the New Age Outlaws, and I just thought it was hilarious. And I
Yeah.
And I could see the appeal for you wrestling fans out there because the storytelling.
Oh, did you watch a clip of that?
I did. I watched a bunch of their...
The way that those guys, when Jesse James comes in, talking on the mic as they come in, there's something about that, like the teenage version of me just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. D-Generation X was just the coolest thing in the world. And there's something about that was just amazing. Wrestling in the 90s was just cool. Wrestling in the 80s was over-the-top fun.
Yeah.
But wrestling in the 90s was just straight-up cool.
And have you been a wrestling fan your whole life?
Since mid-90s.
Okay.
I came into it, NWO era, for those who are listening. It was NWO, Goldberg. That period of time, I was more of a WCW guy at the beginning of things, and then started to have a crossover as I started getting into Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, and really when Chris Jericho jumped ship from WCW to WWF, that's really when I made that shift over. So anyway, since the mid-90s, I've been a wrestling fan, but you say it's been around since you were a kid. I mean, wrestling's been around since the 1800s. Pro wrestling's been around since the 1800s.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So back in the days, this is where it came from. There was all these fights that would happen in like circuses. So you'd have the circus would go town to town, and they would have real tough men fighting. And then they went, this is great. We can make a lot of money, but man, we can't do this every night. We can't do this every night because we're hurting ourselves. And then went, well, what if we just kind of put on a show? And then they realized, wait, we can put on a show and we can do it every night and we can make more money. And that was the origin of it at the beginning, was just we can quote unquote fight more nights if we're not really hitting each other. And then it just evolved and evolved. At the beginning, it was a sideshow of a circus. Then it started evolving. And then up until the 80s, it was all these regional promotions. Then Vince McMahon in the 80s kind of bought out everyone and turned it into a global phenomenon.
Because I remember growing up and people are going, it's just fake, it's fake, it's fake. Why do people watch that? I understand now. I've never been into it. Like I said, I went down this deep, dark rabbit hole. But it's just storytelling.
Right.
And I understand storytelling. And so it's just a really fun show.
Whenever someone says to me, don't you know wrestling is fake? I say, yeah. And so is Iron Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man is also
totally
fake.
It's just a different style of storytelling.
Yeah,
but what's funny is for those of you who don't know, I'm a teacher in a classroom of middle school students. I also teach college classes, but I teach the hero's journey. And what all stories have these elements to it, and wrestling's no different.
Yep.
There's the protagonist, there's the antagonist. This different kind of world, the ordinary world, into this extraordinary world that they're leaving, and it's just being told in a wrestling style of thing, and it's very entertaining. I get it now.
Yeah, it's really cool. And you've been to a live wrestling show with me.
I didn't go to
in Sacramento. You did.
No, I didn't.
We went to a house show at the Sacramento, whatever that's called, Golden West. I went a free ticket. You went to it. I swear you went to it.
Dude, why can't I? Oh, I cannot believe I forgot about that.
Now, to be fair, you might have not had the best impression of it or the storytelling element of it, because that was what's commonly referred to as a house show. Now they call them live events, but that means a non-televised show. And what that is, there's really no story element of that because it's not televised. It's just a live touring show that they really make a lot of money from.
Yeah. Oh, so that makes sense because this is for fans who already know who these people are and all that kind of stuff. I get that. It's just like
people want to see, they want to see them live. They want to see them there. And so wrestlers have a crazy schedule. They have 2 nights a week of television, but then they'll do 3 nights a week of these house shows that they'll hit towns in between. But anyway, so that's what...
to go back to what you said a little bit earlier, Iron Man's is just... That's fictional too. That's storytelling. Yeah. I'm a sports fan and I follow football, American football real closely. I love the San Francisco 49ers, but I also love all of football because of the stories behind it. Because, these guys have a feud and it makes it so much better. Or these two teams are arch enemies and now they're fighting. And so it's really the storylines of football that I love the most and that I like to follow. I'm a fan of the 49ers, of course, and I watch the Oakland Raiders. But it's really the storylines across all of the NFL, you know, that really make it enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
And because then when they're playing, there's a little bit more meaning behind it. So it's storytelling, and it's even in a live professional sport like that. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Let's go to the other categories. So you chose classic rock. Why'd you choose classic rock?
Well, since I was a teenager, I've played guitar, got, obsessed with rock and roll music and all sorts of music, but I spent so much time as a teenager watching VH1.
Oh, yeah.
Watching pop-up video behind the music, those kind of things. I just got so into it, and it was just an obsession for years and years. And obviously, I still love all forms of music, but there was a very long period of time where I was just completely obsessive, and it's stories behind stories behind stories. Like you had the question about Leonard Skinner, and then immediately I go like, oh, well, do you want to know another piece of trivia?
Yeah.
And so do you know who Leonard Skinner is?
That was their gym teacher.
That's right.
Yeah, so the guys formed a band in high school. I watched a documentary.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a big fan of Leonard Skinner as well. But it was their gym teacher.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of this name they liked, and they turned it into a band. And I think there was some kind of a joke there.
Yeah, I don't think he was the most liked.
Yeah, he wasn't a likable guy.
I don't think this was like a let's honor our gym teacher by calling our band. I think it was mocking them. But I've always loved music, and it's funny. You look at, to me, pro wrestling and rock and roll are actually pretty similar.
Okay.
They're actually pretty similar because they're over the top shows, and then within these mediums, it's a way of communicating some kind of story or some kind of attitude, some kind of message, and I don't know. I just always loved storytelling in that form. You mentioned the hero's journey. In my seminars, I take people through the hero's journey every single seminar I do, because I want people to see themselves in that and see it's their time to answer their own personal call. Anyway, it's just an interesting thing, but rock and roll has always been something that I've loved. And so if you had chosen 3 random topics, I don't think I'd get a Quizzy if you chose world history or something, but you chose, Disney, pro wrestling, and rock and roll. I got it.
It's funny. If I was not the one writing this, there is no way I would have gotten any pro wrestling, because, outside of the time I went with you several years ago to a wrestling match, and I think I sat down with you many years ago to watch a Royal Rumble.
No, we watched WrestleMania.
Oh, WrestleMania, sorry.
WrestleMania 31. That was live.
That was in
from
San Francisco.
Levi Stadium.
Yeah, Levi Stadium.
And I remember you being shocked that Levi Stadium was sold out for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was like, what the?
And now this year, starting the last couple of years, they do 2 nights in a football stadium.
That's
sold
crazy.
out. This past one, it was where the Eagles play.
Uh-huh.
And it was completely sold out, plus the floor, 2 nights in a row. It's wild.
Yeah, I know it's impressive, and I know
insane.
that there are a lot of wrestling fans. So you're speaking their language right now. So good job, Jake.
Thank you.
I'm really surprised about your Disney knowledge, not just Disney films, which most people think of, but your knowledge of the parks. I thought I would throw you off for sure. Because you grew up in Southern California, so I thought, okay, he might get 1955 of the first Disney opening. But the Tokyo one, I thought, there's no way he's going to know this.
The truth is that, like, the movies I know just as well as, I guess, about anyone else kind of thing. More than most. But the parks is really where I have my obsession.
Okay, so I chose poorly.
So the parks, I could tell you in what order they opened all the parks around the world.
Okay, that's impressive.
Not just like which one came first and that kind of thing. Here's a random piece of trivia. Is someone came, I forget the guy's name, but a businessman from Tokyo came to Disneyland in California and then went, oh, this is amazing. We want to do this. And he came to Walt Disney saying, we want to license this and bring it to Tokyo. And Walt Disney said no. He said, we're not interested in it. And so then he started his own park. I forget the name of it. The name of the city starts with an N, but I can't remember what it was. And it was something Dream World or Dreamland or something. And it's like a complete ripoff of Disneyland to the point to where everything that was like public domain stuff, they just did. Like they went, well, they can't take a castle. We can make a castle. So they put a castle in the middle of the park. They went, they can't own the Matterhorn. That's a mountain. So they put a Matterhorn with a ride in it. Then they're like, well, they don't own pirates. So they made a pirate ride. It is as much of a replica as they legally could do it. And then in 1983, when they decided to open Tokyo Disney, that park went out of business pretty soon afterwards. It's just a bunch of apartments now.
Huh. You do know your Disney. That's pretty impressive. Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Like where you're from, where you grew up, all of that kind of stuff.
So I grew up in South Pasadena, California, which is just south of Pasadena.
Yeah, just in the LA area there.
Yeah, Los Angeles area. Wonderful place to grow up. Absolutely loved it there. Loved the Los Angeles area. Today I live in Utah, a block away from where we are right now.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. What do you want to know? Where should I go with this? I can go a lot of places of who am I and all those kind of things.
So what brought you out to Utah? So we're both from California, me from Northern, and I moved to Utah 6 years ago to the Salt Lake area. We both now live here. I love it. I'm a snowboarder. This is some of the best snow on the planet. Love it. There was a school here my wife wanted to teach us, so we brought the family out for that school. What brought you to Utah?
It's still a great question. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. No, I've always done a lot of business here, done a lot of seminars, a lot of events. I have a large network of other business people, particularly in my market. But, my wife has family out here. We have family out here. It's a really good central location, easy to travel from here. It's just a great place to live. Why did we come here? Mostly because we just kind of randomly felt like this is what we should be doing.
Yeah.
And so we followed that prompting, and here we are. We've been here a year now.
It's so funny because, this Utah is known for their southern Utah national parks, Zion's, Moab, and they're great places. And Park City is very well known for its skiing, and it's no joke. It's amazing skiing. The snow here is it's so awesome. The dry weather gives you powder forever here. But this was like a kind of a hidden gem for many years. People always thought just the Mormons were here, but Utah's not. It's actually it's becoming more and more diverse. We got people from all over the world coming here. For everything I say, all of my coworkers that I work with at the school that I currently teach at, all of us are just transplants. We've all just kind of moved here for kind of the same reasons. Oh, the snow. I'm a skier. I'm a snowboarder. Rock climbing is just the outdoorsy stuff here is just really great. The hiking's great. Mountain biking.
I also look at one of the reasons. Now, this was kind of the real truth is we just felt like we should and then followed that prompting. But then when I started thinking about what are the other positives of being here? What are the other things kind of to make the logical shift?
Sure.
When it comes to business, I think about areas that are growth areas.
Yeah.
In a place like Los Angeles, as much as I love it, there's not a lot of room for growth. And there's not a lot of room for people to come in and make a splash. When you look at this area right now, they're putting $3 billion right now into the Delta Center, the surrounding area with the NHL team. You got the Olympics coming. This place is growing. In the next 10 years, it's probably going to double in size. There's space for it to go. And so there's so much room for growth in this area. So this is definitely a growth type area. And so I don't know exactly what that will lead to, but that's a lot of where my mind goes of what kind of business opportunities there are in a place where there's growth and movement, as opposed to a place that is kind of already done its growth. It's in a place where you really can't. It's much more challenging to make a splash in a place that is already established.
No, I agree. And I think anybody who comes here sees that. There's an area here. It's a really big tech hub here now.
Yeah.
Lots of big tech companies are moving here. And Utah's a very business-friendly place.
Yep.
I've started 2 businesses since I've been here, sold one of them. And I just can't believe how easy and business friendly it is. And so I love it here for that. And it's a hard place to live. It gets a little cold for us Californians.
Little cold
in the winter. But when I'm snowboarding, I love it.
Yeah.
Any other time, I'm not such a big fan when the snow's on the ground.
Yeah.
But I do love the snowboarding part. You talked earlier about being a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
So what led to that? Like, you don't wake up one day and say, I'm a motivational speaker. I'm Tony Robbins. Let's do this. What led to it?
I kind of did, though.
Okay, I'm so wrong.
Well, okay, so I guess here, I had a lot of kind of worry and anxiety about what am I going to do for a career, because I really didn't feel like I fit in with anything. Nothing was exciting to me. All the kind of careers that were options out there. And I remember when I was in high school, there was a speaker that came to my school, but I just kind of thought he was like a friend of the principal's or something. I didn't know that it was like a thing.
Like a job.
I didn't know it was like a job or a business or whatever. I had no idea. Also, this particular person had been to jail because of drug dealing and then came out and turned his life around. And it was just like, hey, look, I'm a guy with 2 parents that are still married. I have 4 limbs and I've never been to jail. So I didn't think this was an option for me.
You didn't have the story.
Right. And I was like, I can't really do this. And then towards the end of college, I discovered that this was a career. This was something that people were doing. And that was just from seeing some things online. I discovered that was actually like a real thing. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool if I started doing this? And I always thought, but I don't really have like a story. I don't really have this thing. And it's so funny how most of us don't notice the stories that we have. We don't think of them as anything important or meaningful. And I started thinking about it. I was like, well, I'm a diagnosed dyslexic person.
Okay.
I was in special education growing up. I barely graduated from high school. I went to college for my first try, and I was put on academic suspension for a year before I could come back. I said, screw you. If you don't want me here, I don't want to be here either. Then I left, served a mission for my church. During that period of time, kind of grew up a little bit, had some experiences, and realized that maybe I could give this another try. And I had this experience with a mentor of mine who he asked me how come I wasn't going to college. I said, or wasn't going to go to college. And I said, well, I'm just really not cut out for it. It's not for me. He says, nonsense. You're smart enough. You can do this. And I said, well, look, I tried and I failed. And he looked at me and he told me that I was lying to him. And I was kind of taken back by that. And he said, well, look, I believe that because I said I tried and I failed. And he said, well, I believe that you failed, but I don't really believe that you tried. Because I see you here and you're a smart person, you're intelligent, you can do this. And so I don't actually care whether or not you go to college, but what I do care about is that you're setting a pattern for your life. And the pattern is this: every time something gets hard, you quit and you move on. And so my encouragement for you is that if you go back to school and do whatever you can, get tutors, get extra help, do everything that you can to succeed in college, I want you to go back and I want you to graduate. So I went back to school. I got the tutors. I got the help. I did all those things. I feel kind of like Billy Madison. Maybe it was easy for you, but it was hard for me. And I did all that kind of stuff. And I did really well that second time at college. I think if I just count the second part, I ended up having like a 3.8, somewhere around there, I was really impressed by that for myself of what I did there. And so it's like, well, I went from being this kid who could barely read to basically failing out of college the first try, going back, graduating, pushing through those challenges. And I realized, that is a story, because I never thought that I had the capability to go to college and to do that. And so I started off in the youth market, speaking to high school students and college students, or high school, middle school, some college students as well, about this idea that just because of whatever limitations they may have or may perceive doesn't mean they can't go and do hard things. And that's how it started. Now, I've been in this game now for 13 years, so it has evolved over time. Now I do my own seminars and events and work a lot more with business owners and entrepreneurs. Things have evolved over time. But that's how it started, was with that story and sharing that with high school students.
Yeah, it's so funny. I love it. And if you guys are listening, you can hear why Jake is so successful and good at his job. I mean, there's passion and there's meaning there. But, we all have something in our lives that we failed at, maybe.
Yep.
That we can do it.
Yep.
And I see it with my students. I'm like, no, you got this.
Yeah.
We got this.
Can I share a story of something that happened yesterday?
Yeah.
Yesterday, a friend of mine called me. This friend just started a business. They just started a business. Now, this business was a service-based business, and to sell their service, they're going door to door. The first week he started, everything was just like beginner's luck, so good. Everything was great. So he went week 2, and I called and said, hey, how are things going? And he said, I don't know. Things are really, I'm just not getting the sales I was last week. I got a bunch of no's in a row. I don't know. I'm kind of questioning if I'm doing the right thing, if whatever. And I stopped him and I said, congratulations. Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
This is what this game is about. And this is the price we pay to be in this business game. And I said, look, you talked about questioning where you're at right now. There's not a week that goes by that I don't question what I'm doing, because there's always those failures. But what's cool is what happens is either the numbers are going to play out where, okay, just because you got a dry spell, you're going to have a hot streak coming up, or you're going to learn something that's going to help you push through. And anyway, I said this, a quote from A League of Their Own. I also love movies. I probably could have.
There's no crying in baseball.
Well, so that's a good one too. But an even better quote from League of Their Own is when Dottie, the star player, quits the team. Tom Hanks, Jimmy Dugan, he says, he asks why he quit. She says, it's because it got too hard.
Yeah.
His quote to her is, of course it's hard. If it was easy, everyone would do it. It's supposed to be hard. It's the hard that makes it great.
It's such a great quote. Gives me chills thinking about it again. But it's true. It's the hard things of life and how we handle them that turn us to who we become.
Yes.
And so the journey itself is our own personal hero's journey. It's, whatever you're trying to accomplish in your life. Maybe it's weight loss. Maybe you're building a business and there's a certain amount of income level you want to hit. Those are all important. I get it. I understand. But it's the journey. It's supposed to be hard.
Yes.
And it's good for us. Even though it sucks, it's still good for us.
Yes.
And it's who we have to become to attain those things. That's the true reward.
Well,
I've been to some of your seminars.
So here's what I love about the hero's journey. And I love this as an analogy for people, because with the hero's journey, what we see is the hero in the movie or the book rarely gets what they're after at the beginning. They rarely get the goal that they're actually after, but they end up getting their true destiny. But they wouldn't have got that true destiny if it wasn't for the pursuit of the goal.
Yeah.
I think that goals that we have are rarely for the purpose of attaining them. They're for the purpose of who we become in the pursuit of those goals.
Yes, it's true. I mean, anytime we've done anything hard in our lives and you've accomplished it, it's the truest reward of it is who you've become.
That's right.
Yeah. And people, some people have a good or bad relationship with money. But it's ultimately, the money is just a natural consequence of that kind of the financial strive and drive that you go there. And money is just part of that. But the true reward is, who am I now?
Yep.
Am I better?
Yep.
And you are. It's really cool. And I did not know that this theme was going to be a hero's journey theme today, but it's cool. I'm about to teach this in 2 days. So
okay, cool.
That was fresh on my mind. So Jake, like with your profession, what for you is the most rewarding part about what you do? Because I mean, I've if you guys haven't picked this up yet, I've known Jake for several years and I've watched his career from when you were playing, like trying to get gigs in your local rec center to being highly sought after in schools, and you were traveling like, you were gone all week, every week for just so much travel. Let's just say that.
It was.
And you were doing all of these shows. You were highly sought after. To now, you're the mentor. You are putting on these seminars, and you're helping people along the way. What's the most rewarding part for you?
I think the most rewarding part is when I get to see the walls come down with people. Because what I used to do was a 1-hour keynote presentation.
Right.
Now I work with people. Typically, it's over minimum of 3 months, sometimes up to 12 months. But then also we do these seminars that are multi-days. I think the most rewarding thing is when people let their walls down and actually open up to what's really going on. And when they open up to what's really going on, now they can discover the real answers that are going to help them move forward.
I love that. I remember you telling me this story, I don't know, a couple of years ago, about a woman that was part of one of your seminars where you, I can't remember the name, but you were, it was a group that you met with often for a while. Mm-hmm. And she discovered in the pursuit of all of this that she was trying to be a speaker like you had been. And she discovered, no, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. This is not it. I don't know if you remember who I'm talking about. Yeah. I don't remember. You never told me her name. But anyways, and you said she figured out what she wanted to do, but you said I would have made a lot more money had she stayed in the program and became a speaker or whatever.
Well, I could have convinced her.
Yeah.
No.
But you said,
what you really want to do.
But you said, no, this is not for you. And she found like her calling in all of this, right?
Yeah.
And is doing something that's very happy. I just thought that was really cool to watch that you help them in all of these different ways in their lives, and they're figuring out, oh, hey, this is the path, and you guided her to there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have helped you financially the other way.
For sure. It's much more financially beneficial to try to make people dependent on you. Okay. But I don't believe in doing that. I believe that when I serve people, help people, and help them be independent, and help them be empowered, it's great because referrals come, those kind of things. It all works out. But I look at this and say, when it comes to any kind of success, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. I think that business is just a game that we play to help us have personal growth. And sometimes that looks different ways, that goes different directions. And so for me, it's when I see the personal growth, when I see those aha moments, when people go, like I just did a seminar up in Park City, a small group retreat. We had 23 people up there, and we do all sorts of crazy things. In fact, with the Hero's Journey, there's another book called Magician, Warrior, Lover, King. And this is a book, I forget the name of the author, but the book is based on some of the work of Carl Jung and focusing on archetypes and how we have all these archetypes inside of us. And we tap into these different archetypes because if I address a problem as a warrior compared to as a lover, I'm going to have a very different answer as to what I can do. So we tap into all these different pieces of us. We even talk about the jester and the superhero, and we've made all these different types of archetypes. But I remember being in there, and they're stepping into this archetype of the king or the sovereign inside of their life, and we even had these paper crowns that they were all wearing. But I remember having this group of adults that I'd just taken through this guided meditation and this experience, and they're wearing these silly paper crowns, and half of them are crying and having this like deep emotional experience. And I'm looking around just going like, how funny is it that I got a group of adults to put on these paper crowns and pretend to be all these different things. Part of it earlier was pretending to be superheroes, pretending. And anyway, the point of it is to tap into different pieces of ourselves. And when we do that through this one experience, there's this one gentleman who, this part of him was awakened. And it was actually when we got into the warrior part of him. He'd kind of taken a step back and everything was like, just kind of go in the safe place. And since that event, when he stepped into the warrior, his life in every category, his business, his relationship, everything in his life has just taken off and skyrocketed because he allowed himself to be silly and playful, in which we were able to tap into a piece of him that had been dormant for decades. This is an older gentleman, and he awakened that part of him. And I had a conversation with him just last week where he talked about that and about how his life has been so different since then, just over the last 2 months. Those are the moments that are the most rewarding.
I love that so much because it's this personal journey, like who we have to become.
Yes.
And for that. So I know you started out as a speaker, you're a motivational speaker. You have seminars, you do all of this kind of stuff for people. And you have this close group of people that you work with, and you do these events with them and mentor them in those ways. What kinds of people come to you? Are they only people who are speakers? Or what kind of people come to you that you mentor?
So when it comes to the mentorship, most of the people that I work with are people that have a message that want to turn that message into some kind of business.
Okay.
Whether it's as a speaker or a coach, anything like that. However, in today's version of my business, we're opening up to a lot more general public events that are really about climbing your own personal mountain. And it's funny that the intro event that we're creating right now and working on, that we're going to do in cities all around the country, is called Answer Your Call. And it's based on the hero's journey. And we didn't talk about this before.
We did not talk. This was not planned.
That's why this is something that I have that's what this event is called. It's called Answer Your Call, because everyone has this little thing inside of them that says, I want more, I want to do more, I want to achieve more. I think there's more out there. That's the call to greatness. And for those who don't know the hero's journey, that's where it starts. For all of them, there is a call. And anyway, so we do we're doing a lot more of that kind of thing. And those events would be just as applicable to the business person and the stay-home mom and everyone in between.
Yeah, I love it. So if people want to learn more, if they want to find out more from you, where can they go?
I think the best thing, because we're doing a lot of rebranding with some of these events, is just find me on social media, whether it's the three big ones that I'm active on are TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Jake Ballentine for any of them. You can find them. I think all of those profile pictures is the same thing. It's me wearing an orange hat, and there is some other Jake Ballentine imposters out there. No, they're probably distant relatives or something. I don't know. But anyway, so you'll find me there. Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok.
And that is Jake Ballentine with a B as in boy.
That's right. Ballentine.
B as in boy. Ballentine. Dude, thanks for coming in.
I'm excited.
It's been awesome.
What do I get? You said I got a Quizzy, so is there like a statue or can I put something on my desk?
Do you want a participation trophy?
I do know. I got 15 out of 15. I want a trophy.
No, you get a shirt. You get the Quizzy shirt, baby.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Reach out to Jake if you have any questions. Reach out to us here at Quizzy Fun Trivia. If you want to do a head-to-head, reach out. We'd love to have you. Thanks, everyone.